All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live. Here with you on a Wednesday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get ready for all of your action tonight. We have got the Western Conference side of the NBA Cup quarterfinals. We've got a lot of college basketball, a lot of hockey, several other things to get to as we move along here on a Wednesday. Of course, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Good to have everybody with us. Doug, happy Wednesday to you. I stayed up way too late last night. As you heard me before the show, belly aching about the Colorado Avalanche. I was very upset late night.
I was involved in Edmonton. It went down 3-0 and teased me a little bit early third with back-to-back quick goals. Just a disappointing performance. I'm used to the NBA where this stuff's predictable. They were supposed to lay an egg, the Buffalo Sabres, but they did not. So we'll get back on the horse. At least the Wolverines are blowing everyone out by 40. So that's at least, pretty predictable.
Great job by you with the Wolverines last night. I mean, they were up 30 at the half they smashed Villanova in that game. So nice job there. And look, the weird part is, Doug, it's like we've done this a lot. We say this sometimes. A pretty good night aside from the Colorado and mess, because I played the under in the Orlando game. I played the Knicks. I played the Islanders and the Ducks, those two money line ones, also in the hockey. So it wasn't a bad night all around, but I was really upset staying up late for the Colorado Avalanche. But we're back today, Doug, for another round on a Wednesday.
Mikey needs his bedtime. We can't be doing this late night stuff.
1 a.m. on the East for me because I get the human alarm clock sometimes at 4:45 or 5 just hammering me in the head. So I got to make sure I get a little bit of rest, Doug, before we come through. All right, why don't we start tonight on a Wednesday with the other side of that NBA Cup quarterfinals. We move to the Western Conference side. We found out last night that Orlando and the Knicks will head to Vegas next week on the East. But we have to find the other two participants that will go to Vegas. And let's start in OKC, just after 7:30 East, where the Thunder and the Suns will start things off. Nice spread here. 2 tutties and a hook. 14.5 for the Thunder tonight. 224 flat will be the total. Of course, we got the Devin Booker injury stuff and other things with the Suns, Doug, coming into this game.
Well, so Booker's out, not going to play, but some of the other guys are back since the last time we talked Phoenix. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is the over-under. Both games went under yesterday. We touched on it. Last year, the quarterfinal games, 3 of the 4 went under. Everything in Vegas goes under because the defense ratchets it up, new fit gymnasium, all that stuff that we kind of talk about during March Madness, stuff like that. So you got to look at the under. First things first, you got to look at the under. It's just really hard with this OKC team. They're such a wagon, and that second and third unit. But Phoenix, probably more predictable. It's tricky because the Raptors were missing guys yesterday, so it's hard to play the under. But, that Miami game, they were stormed out of the gates, and then it died. Second half landed like 112, I want to say. So, the whole game, the game landed 225, game under was 234. So went under by about 9.5 points. So if anything, I'd play under. If anything, I'd play Thunder as well, because they are just so dominant. But we've touched on it. They're more of a team that has beat up in situations where you want to back them, like revenge angle, stuff like that, because OKC, so good against the spread last year, so good against the spread 2 years ago, but this year just 13-11, right? They're right around 500. But a year ago, 52-39-1, so 12 games above 500. Sorry, that was 2 years ago. And then last year, really good. And so you just got to be careful. They were 30 games above 500. It's just, if you think about it, how ridiculous that is for a team that straight up is really good. Usually the ATS teams that are so good are like surprise playoff teams or something like that. So I just think the market's caught up to the Thunder. I would say if I had to pick, this would be a situation that favors OKC up for the game, so to speak. So I would bet on them before I bet against them. So I lean Thunder. I lean under.
Well, they probably also, you can't forget, Doug, they want to get back. They lost the NBA Cup title last year,
right,
to the Bucks in Vegas. And I know we talk about the extra money for these guys. And you would think, NBA, they're all getting money anyway. Thunder, as good as they are, Doug, they have a lot of young guys who haven't gotten the $400 million contracts yet. So the extra money winning the NBA Cup for them actually, probably in the grand scheme of things, is more than some of these other teams.
True. I've gotten to be an old man here because I thought the NBA Cup was like kind of cool the first year. Oh, playing for cats. Like, then what are we paying them for otherwise? Like,
It's true.
The fact that they have to be incentivized for regular season games. I'm an old man. I have no, like, I defend their salaries. Like, look, they generate the TV contracts. Like, I'm all for them making 30 million, 40 million, but that I have no issue with that. They do something I cannot do. They provide entertainment and a product that other people cannot duplicate. But that salaries are for the regular season games. Like, why do we have to incentivize people who are already getting paid that much? So I think they should all make a ton and do whatever the market indicates. I believe in the invisible hand. But once they get their salaries, they should also have to compete and not just lollygag or sit out games and things like that.
I agree with you. We know, obviously, they wanted to try to make some meaning behind some of these November and December games, and they felt that this was the only way they could do it. One more thing here. We talk about this sometimes with these big spreads, too. Would you see this as a spot maybe to play the Thunder first half, come out and smash them early, first half, first quarter, things like that?
Yeah, I'm not against it. I just think, we know this from basic statistics, right? So are you more likely to get a 50% outcome if you flip a coin 100 times or 6 times, right? It's the larger sample size, the truer the outcome. So if you believe in them, especially that second unit, especially that third quarter or that switch they can flip in the fourth quarter, sometimes you want that second half to pull away. It's not so much fatigue, it's just the Phoenix hitting 1,000,000 threes in a row or going on there. I just think the Thunder come at you at waves. We know the stats with SGA, who's just been an animal scoring, and he's not even playing fourth quarters. So I think you just trust the entire game, but they're really a beast through 3 quarters. So you want that third quarter.
You do want to get right there in that spot. So the Thunder and the Suns tonight for us with that. Elsewhere, and I know we mentioned this yesterday, Doug, but before I move on to the Spurs and the Lakers, OKC over 70.5 wins is minus 107. And the 74+ wins at Bet Rivers, 4-1, plus 400 as they play tonight.
I mean, look, they're 14.5-point favorites. Might as well jump in now before the market moves, because this does count towards their regular season record. I just think this should be like 2-1. I don't see how they lose 10 games, 11, 9 games, 8 games. It's just, who's going to beat them because of that second unit? I mean, I know it was the Jazz on Sunday, but SGA didn't play and they won by 30-something. They're just too good. And the structure of their lineup, and they have the depth. I think the depth is the difference maker here. And also other teams are load management and tanking. And, so we get to the end of the season, I don't know if many teams are going to be taking them on. And maybe, it's one of those situations like the Lakers played Toronto last week. And then the next night they had the Celtics. LeBron, played the front end because they thought Toronto was a more winnable game. So they're going to catch teams if it's OKC and then Houston next or something like that. They're going to sit guys against the Thunder and try to win the other game.
Right.
So I just think everything's pointing in their direction. They're young, even though Hartenstein's hurt, like the injury bug. I just think they're going to do it this year. And I think this number would be lower if we were talking about it as much we were talking about the Warriors 10 years ago when they did it.
Right. The other game tonight, NBA Cup quarters in the Western Conference, will be the Spurs and the Lakers in Los Angeles. Of course, the Lakers -7 now at Bet Rivers. 241.5 is the total, and that's the game I've circled, Doug. I'm going after that under. I know it's big. I know Spurs, Lakers, whatever. But that'll be my game tonight, like Magic and Heat last night, that I'm hoping it's going to be tight, late, low scoring, things like that.
Well, so first things first, Wemby's not playing. So it's going to be the same version of the Spurs we've seen the last couple weeks. Castle did return on Monday, so I guess that's a little different. But he fit into their sort of this current version where they don't have to change the entire offense and defense with Wemby. And Castle fit in well. I think Harper played well. I think all that youth is playing well. The problem is the defense and really the third quarter, they've been outscored in the last two third quarters, like egregious amounts, 44-19, so by 25, and then 45-23 against the Pelicans of all teams. So you just wonder if you can bet the Lakers in advance here at -1.5 in the third quarter. Now, the problem was the Lakers were a terrible third quarter team like the first month of the season. So that's something to keep in mind. But I think with the Lakers are coming off an excellent, excellent performance, specifically LeBron's best game. He was fantastic against the Sixers and picked his spots, and he was really, really incredible because he fit into Austin Reeves, sort of Luka, like the 1-2 combo there, and then really started doing vintage LeBron. Okay, so the market's gone up to 2.5 at Bet Rivers. I would say Lakers -7 is probably worth a play. I think the Spurs are good. Cornette, like their limitations in the paint as well. I think the Lakers are pretty loaded at full strength. 7 feels like a number I can manage if I know they're motivated like they are here with the Cup. So that's my first look, but not enough to pull the trigger. I think the under is the right play. I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, I like it. It's too high for me. And I'm just going to go to that angle, Doug, that I've kind of been talking about in these. There's a lot on the line. I think it's going to be a close game, and I just think it's going to be one of these games that they're not going to play a game in the 250s tonight. Like, I think that there's going to be defense. Believe it or not, in an NBA game, Doug, I think that maybe there'll be a little bit of defense tonight. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think I'm going to go on the defensive side of things for the Spurs and the Lakers this evening. And those, I didn't realize this, Doug. I thought it was next week. They're playing Saturday in Vegas. The winners of these. So this is actually a pretty, at least for the teams tonight, it's fast. I mean, you get on that jet, you get yourself a little Vegas time right away if you win this game. Get right out there to you, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason they want to do it, right? They get an couple extra days, and it's December, so Spurs and Lakers, I think the weather's cooperating, but for other parts of the U.S., not so much. That getting out to L.A. or getting out to the West is nice. Now, not always is the weather great out here, but this week it is. It's in the 70s and 60s. It's pretty incredible.
Oh, it's so cold here in New York. It's just awful. It is so cold. I can't take it. Of course, Bet Rivers has you set up tonight. NBA Wednesday primetime, second chance SGP. Log into your Bet Rivers app or your BetRivers.com account each Wednesday to receive a second chance same game parlay token to use on either of the primetime NBA games that day. Of course, there are 2 tonight. You know which 2 they are. We talked about them. If your wager does not hit, of course, you will get the token back in your account. See the Bet Rivers app or website for full details. NBA Wednesday, primetime, second chance, SGP. All right, college basketball for this evening. And speaking, we already mentioned Michigan, which was just an unbelievable smash job against Villanova last night. But the other one I wanted to mention to you, Doug, was the first half with UConn, because that saved the day. It played the first half at UConn. I didn't play the game in UConn, and that's a good thing because, of course, it ended on 4, and UConn did cover the first half. So nice job with you with that one also.
Yeah, and it got to 3.5 once Harris was announced.
Right.
Then it went 3.5. So I got down on both, but you're right. First half was sort of the right angle, but Florida led most of the way, and then they just couldn't hit the ocean from the beach with the 3-pointer, and that was the difference.
And the BYU game was good too. They had the comeback at the end, and then hitting the 3 at the buzzer at the Garden to get them the win there. Let's get to tonight. We'll start in the Big Ten, and with number 6 Purdue. So Purdue home for Minnesota tonight. This is now 23 tutties for Purdue at home against Minnesota, 142.5 the total. I know Minnesota, Doug. 5-4, not great, but 3 touchdowns here, 21 points in a college basketball game, a conference game, seems like a lot.
This is pretty interesting. You have Purdue, which was just the number 1 team in the country. Okay, they just got drilled at home by Iowa State, who's very good, undefeated, just pretty solid, right? But still, they were down 4 at half or something like that, and then got absolutely waxed. Shot 20-something% from 3. It was 4 of 20-something. So they got embarrassed. And yesterday, if you might remember, I said that Indiana was probably going to get back on track and kill Penn State, and they did. This looks like that's going to happen here, but it's a little different. I don't know if Purdue's like eager to kind of get that stench. I don't know. I think this number is right. Other angle is like it could land 30 because they're so much better than Minnesota and Purdue off a loss. I'm just not seeing it. I actually like the Gophers first half. I think there's going to be a little hangover effect and a deeper dive into the Boilermakers. And the first half line's 11.5, by the way. The first half, the first 10 minutes, they'll be like tied with so many bad opponents. They don't start kind of ratcheting it up till 10 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go in the first half. So I think first half Gophers the way to play. I don't want to lay the 21. I was eager to lay big lumber yesterday with Penn State and Michigan. Sorry, with Indiana against Penn State and then Michigan. I'm not running to the window here. Purdue could obviously roll them, okay? This is a pretty darn good Purdue team, but I think there's a little bit of a hangover here. I think they're going to win this by in the teens. So I lean to the dog, but I do like the first half play.
First half for them there tonight. Of course, that is just after 7 o'clock East, that tip in West Lafayette for those two. The other Big Ten game on the schedule, and there's Robbie, pretty sure the Gophers have 2 starters out, I heard.
Okay.
So
that might change things.
That could change things in terms of the injury bug for them, and I will effort that as well as we move forward here. The other Big Ten game tonight, Wisconsin and Nebraska. Just after 9 o'clock East, Nebraska out to a 9-0 start and have gotten themselves into the top 25 now. They're in at number 23. Wisconsin 7-2. Nebraska now -2, -1. Just moved as we spoke with a 159 total.
This number's been on the move a little bit because Scotty Whiskey was the road chalk here by 1.5. So I agree with the line move. Look, Nebraska's a great story, undefeated. Really, really nice story out of the gates. I think they're going to be up for this game in a large way. You know, over the course of history of betting these types of spreads and conference play, you're going to win more than you don't if you just take the home team here. Now, does that mean it happens every time? No. But I think a lot more has to go right for the road team to take care of business. Because what I think is going to happen, even though the Huskers are ranked and they're undefeated, they're treating this like they're the home dog here. I mean, just the crowd, whiskey coming into town. Like, this is not, home team that's perennial better than the road team. I think this is about a team that's still fighting for love. Campus is fired up. I think they're going to be rocking. Now, I think we're all going to love it if Nebraska wins because then they go to Illinois undefeated this weekend, and I think they get waxed and drilled. So I like Nebraska here. A little bit more than a lean, but nothing more. I think they get it done. But Wisconsin will shoot the 3, and that's what Nebraska allows. So there's a scenario, there's a path to victory for the Badgers. I'll just take the Huskers at home.
Both teams do score a lot of points. You saw both teams are averaging in the 80s, and you got a 159. Obviously, you do a little bit of math. Like you said, Wisconsin loves to shoot the 3. Maybe we can get a little up and away here tonight in Lincoln. Lots of points.
Perhaps. I mean, Ken Palm's right on the number. Nebraska by 1, 80-79. That's 159. It's a lot of points. I don't have a good read on these teams. Again, conference play just underway.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a chime. Nebraska almost always falls flat. Well, we'll see. I think there's a different vibe here. They've won the close game so far this year. I don't think they're going to run the table. That's why I really want them to win so we can bet against them on Saturday.
There you go. Wisconsin and Nebraska tonight. Elsewhere, outside the Big Ten, let's do this Houston game because Houston is playing tonight, and that is they are at home against Jackson State. I will tell you, I forgot to mention, the 45 was good with NC Central last night against Kentucky. That was a winner, too. The plus 45 at Rupp against the Wildcats. So nice job by NC Central. They won by
unranked Kentucky Wildcats.
38th or 38 or something like that. It was close, but 45 got home. Got another big number tonight for you. How's 39.5 for Houston against Jackson?
So this is interesting. Ken Palm has this 30. So I don't want to watch this game. I just want to know the final score because I'm fascinated. And a lot of times in these games, the unders come home because Jackson State's just overwhelmed like no other. They're 1-7. Okay.
Oof.
They gave up 115 points to Arkansas, 112 to Auburn, 106 to Louisville, 113 to Illinois. Had quite the opening slate here. I don't think they're going to have a resume for the committee to dissect, but certainly impressive non-conference. And then they play a team like Louisiana Tech and only allow 68. So we're giving up 100 points here. The problem is that's not really Houston's MO. So it's a fascinating handicap because, again, how often do you see Ken Palm 10 points off? Okay. Right there, it's kind of funny. The over-under is interesting at 138 because Houston, how many points are they going to allow? Team total neighborhood of 48.5. I mean, can you see this team getting to 50? They give up a lot and the opponents score quickly, but they did score 55 against Illinois, 70 against Louisville, 66 against Auburn, and 61 against Arkansas. So asking for 50, I guess, isn't so much, but it is Houston's defense. You just wonder about the tenacity of the Cougs and how much Sampson's going to have them ready to go. I don't know. I think it's a funny game to discuss. I would say Houston's team total under would be my first play, but it's not like they're coming off a big win. Houston is or anything like that. I don't think they relax. Yeah, they beat FSU. Who cares? But they're stingy on defense, and this Jackson State team's obviously got some issues. So I think it's a fascinating handicap. I'd probably lean under in the game. I don't know if Houston's going to be able to put up 100 and something. Maybe they will. Maybe they just lick their chops like all those other teams did.
So yeah, we've got 48.5 for the Jackson State team total. 49.5 now, up to 49.5.
Ooh, little action on the over here. Sharp
on the over. Looking for 50 plus out of Jackson State tonight at Houston. Before I get to, I know we have a game on the women's side that we're going to get to. I will just let you know everything else. Notre Dame is home tonight for Idaho. They're laying double digits. Always fun when BC gets together with UMass. That's so embarrassing that UMass is favored. BC's basketball program is so bad. And I kind of like this New Mexico VCU game. Might be a little too much for VCU. I know VCU's at home tonight, but New Mexico's not a bad squad. And they're getting, I believe it's 7.5 right now there at Bet Rivers. So I kind of got my eye on New Mexico tonight at VCU. It's 8.5 now. So 8.5 for New Mexico on the road in Virginia.
Okay. So usually, New Mexico, it's nice to bet on the pit.
Yeah, and on the road,
but they're on the road here. Okay, yeah. I know a guy took VCU. Numbers moved in his directions, double digits. Now it's come back at 8.5. Interesting. I don't know. I can't get a good read on those teams. It's early in the season, right?
Anybody? They really haven't played. They beat Mississippi State. That's the one good play. They lost to Nebraska. They haven't played much so far. And VCU really, I don't think VCU. They play out, and they were at Atlantis, so they played Vandy and Vatek and a couple of others, but no real heavies for either team so far. Seems like a lot of points.
We have Yale and Albany tipping bottom of the hour, minutes away.
The Basketball Hall of Fame Classic tonight.
10-1 Eli's. That's a little nickname you don't hear. You got to be in the know to know that's one of the Yale nicknames. Bulldogs, but they're also known as the Eli's.
Duquesne and Boise State late night too. If you like Duquesne and Boise State out on the left side on the West Coast for you. So there you go. We do have a women's game to look at. Iowa and Iowa State. Iowa State right now -4.5 at Bet Rivers, 147.5.
Talk about a primetime tip, 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, not the Deuce, main channel, the Cyhawk Trophy on the line. My guy likes the Clones, laying the 4.5. Caitlin Clark isn't walking through that door, Carver. This is a couple of her old teammates in this one. Cyclones have a player who's awesome. She's bombing like 40 points a game in some situations.
Really good. Yeah.
She's really tough to guard. They're putting up triple digits in some games. This should be an awesome game, but Audi Crooks will put up a number. She's coming off a 30-point performance. She's been an absolute beast. Very fun, very fun. 47 2 games ago. So against the Hoosiers. So triple double watch for Steve here.
Wow.
Interesting.
And both teams undefeated, huh? 9-0 Iowa, 10-0 Iowa State. Good game. But this was a text call to you, this Iowa State.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is sound the alarm. I'm in, baby. Let's go. Iowa State tonight.
We're not infallible, but
Well, of course.
I don't love the rest of the card, so I'm okay. I'm okay with this.
The Texas women are laying like 50 plus or something like that, right? I think the Texas women playing tonight against.
I laid another big number. Didn't get home yesterday, so you got to be careful out there.
UT Rio Grande against Texas, and that's in the 50s.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. And women, I feel you've got me into this now where it's you look at something like 55.5, 54, but in the women's game, it's like, no, they could get these. They could.
Well, Maryland's laying 59.5 today, so almost 60.
Man, that is wild. There you go. College hoops, both men and women's side. Cooks 60 PRA, 60 points, rebounds, assists.
She's not getting a triple double. She's only had double digit rebounds in 2 games.
Texas by 60 plus. Petey's in on the women's hoops. Texas by 60 plus.
Wait, what's Cook's? What's her? What did he make her PRA?
He said 60.
No, come on. She's gonna score like 30 and have 4 and 4 or something like that.
I don't get no college player props for me in New York, Doug. So I don't have any of the college.
I think that's his own number. That book would go broke if they hung 60. It's probably like 37.5 or something like that.
Right around there for tonight. College hoops this evening, men's and the women's side. Of course, if you like what you see, as you should, make sure that you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube, where you can check out us here on Betting Weekly Live and all of our other shows, including the morning version of Betting Weekly Live, where, of course, Nigel and the crew have been on fire. We passed the baton to them a couple weeks ago when we were on fire, and they have been running with it. Nigel Seeley hit his daily double in the Champions League, 2 games over 2.5 goals. Yesterday he hit that. They've been rolling, all those guys. So make sure you check out the morning edition Betting Weekly Live, as well as us and everything else that is there on the Betting Weekly Studios channel. Subscribe on YouTube. All right, pucks for tonight. Light night in the NHL with only 5 games on a Wednesday. Although you do get a TV doubleheader. Stayed up for the TV doubleheader last night. Didn't go very well for me. But tonight, the first, actually 4 games, 4 games in the NHL. Rangers in Chicago to start things off. Rangers now minus 150 at Bet Rivers. Blackhawks plus $1.20. The total's a flat 6. I thought about some different ways maybe to play this. The Blackhawks are kind of getting in a funk now, Doug. I think they've lost 8 out of 11 at this point. They've been giving up some goals. So the Blackhawks have they've hit the skids a little bit here. The Rangers, as we know, pretty good team on the road. But I don't know if I want to lay 150 with the Rangers. I thought about Rangers in regulation at plus 110. I saw that number.
I know they're the road warriors, but aren't you a little uneasy laying $1.50 on the road?
That's why I was starting to look for some other things. And I thought maybe in regulation would be the one way if I wanted to take them, because they're plus 110 to win in 60 and to win in regulation. So, but like last night, I had to sweat 3 shootouts last night. So I just don't. 3 shootouts I had to sweat. Every game I was involved in. Total's a flat 6. The Rangers are kind of hit or miss, even though the Blackhawks have been giving up some goals. So I don't know if there's anything really, Doug, that I'm dying to go run to here in this Ranger-Blackhawk game tonight.
We needed a live feed on you. We needed a live feed on your sort of big brother situation.
I was so mad about the Avalanche last night. There were so many things tied to the Avalanche finishing off that game against the Predators. And Doug, I tell you this. That guy, I tweeted it out. He looked like he thought he was Dominik Hasek, that UC Saros last night for the Nashville Predators. He was a brick wall. this wasn't even a game, Doug, where I walked away from it like, you know what, Colorado, they've been so good. They took a night off. They didn't take a night off. They threw everything at this guy. They had 6 minutes straight of power plays at the end of the second period, into the third. They just couldn't put a puck past this guy after the first 5 minutes of the game. It was very, very frustrating. You could tell I'm still.
And was there anyone there to tell you, oh, that's why you just can't bet the NHL? Like, that's the last thing I need in those moments. I just want to slug someone in the face.
Right.
Look, everything's right. Don't need your peanut gallery.
Thankfully, everyone in the house was already asleep, and I stopped looking at Twitter after the game ended. I said, just walked away, and I said, I'm getting out of here at this point. The second game tonight of the TV doubleheader on TNT. UC is a good goalie. He's not a hack. Listen, Steve, UC Saros is very good. He's not Dominic Hasek. That's what he was last night against the Avalanche. The Kings,
Dominator did in fact walk through that door and suit up.
He did. It looked like it. The Kings and the Kraken is the second game tonight on TV. The Kings are minus $1.55, road favorite. All 4 games tonight, Doug, the road team is favorite. Now, in 2 of them, it's very slight. But this one, the Kings are minus $1.55. 5.5 is the total. The Kraken have also fallen on some hard times recently. They are not playing good hockey. They've lost 6 in a row heading into tonight. And the Kings are one of these great teams on the road. 10-2-4 on the road so far this year. It is $1. It's like the Rangers. It is $1.55, though. What's their regulation? Plus 107 in regulation for the Kings.
Gretzky walking through that door?
No, he's not. Gretzky's not walking.
Rob Blake? No.
Not tonight.
I'm more about the Kraken when they play back-to-backs. I thought we had a few coming up. So December 23rd at the Kings. That's the next one we got to circle.
That is the next one on the schedule coming up for Seattle in this spot. So that's the other game. I'm not extremely interested there either. The other 2 games are Detroit in Calgary against the Flames. And Detroit's been playing pretty well on this road trip. They're minus $1.13. So this is almost a toss-up game. The Flames have actually started to climb out of the cellar. They've won 3 in a row. They're not in last anymore. They do have their backup going tonight. They're giving Dustin Wolf the night off, who's been hot. The total 6. I kind of like the over with the Calgary backup in and the way the Red Wings have been scoring on this road trip. That would be the one thing for me here, Doug, is a little over in the Red Wings and the Flames tonight.
I notice you say it like I do, Calgary, but you don't go Calgary.
No, Calgary. It's Calgary. No Calgary. No, that's only if you got to be from Alberta. You got to be from Western Canada to throw that down. It's Calgary everywhere for most of us. You got to say Calgary.
So that's how I've always pronounced it. But you meet some Canadian hockey players, things like Barry Melrose. When I worked at ESPN, what do we say? Calgary.
Calgary. Well, that's a lot of the Canadians will say it that way. They'll give you the Calgary, the Flames, and the Panthers are in Utah against the Mammoth. They are a slight, very, very slight road favorite, minus $1.13, and the total is a flat 6 here. Utah also has not been good. They have been losing some games, and Florida maybe is starting to pull it together. They've won 2 in a row. They've started to get, they were last in the division about a week ago, and now at least they've jumped a couple of teams. Florida's a lot better than Utah, Doug, but they have not been good on the road this year. They're 4-6 away from Sunrise.
There's an ebb and flow to the NBA season. Like you touched on with the NBA Cup, the league tried to incentivize these December games that can get lost in the shuffle because Christmas Day is the unofficial start of the NBA season. What about the NHL? You touched on it just a little bit ago as we ripped through some of these games, saying so-and-so starting to play better. Things. Is there a sort of a switch that gets flipped? Are you less likely to believe a team playing well at this time of the year? More likely?
A team like, Florida, I think, is kind of in their own category just because they've won the last few years and they showed last year that they can kind of wait around till January and then kind of put the throttle down and get themselves in position. I think that this year is a little bit different, Doug, because you have the 3 weeks off in February with the Olympics. So I think that kind of changes things somewhat, because you kind of don't have that that month. Usually you have January, February, March heading into the playoffs. You basically don't have February this year. So it kind of takes a whole chunk out of the schedule. You can't really wait around until January to kind of throttle up. So I think the Panthers kind of got to make their move a little bit earlier this year because you don't have that, the usual 15 games or whatever it is. They normally 15 to 18 games you'd play in a month. They're only going to play like 3 in February. So these games are a little bit more condensed.
NBA sort of has that load management thing because they've realized that home court doesn't matter that much. It's about being healthy, and they don't really care about seeding. I mean, over the years, we know NHL, like anything goes once the playoffs start. So they kind of play the long game here. Not that they load manage, but do they kind of understand let's just get to the playoffs? It's a different animal.
I think that the best teams do. I think that, but I think that there's only a handful of teams that would feel comfortable in that setting right now. I mean, if outside of Colorado and Dallas, I mean, you kind of look, and I was kind of looking at this earlier too, that you bring this up. They've got 49 and 47 points right now. They're far and away from everyone else. And then Washington's third in the NHL with 39, them and the Ducks. I mean, you got like 15 teams within 8 points of them, 7 or 8 points. Like, there's only 2 really bad teams, 3 bad teams. Vancouver, Nashville, and Calgary have been bad. Buffalo's won a couple games to get them out of the bottom. I mean, there's 10 points separating Buffalo and Washington, 3rd in the league and 27th in the league. I don't think anyone should feel secure about anything unless you're Colorado or Dallas right now.
Oh, gosh.
Got to play every night. Got to play.
Do they have I know in college football, win expectancy is a term that gets thrown around a lot just by, you kind of the turnover randomness is such a big impact and how much games EPA is involved, right? 3rd and 11s if they convert those, like the wins, right? Do we have win expectancy in hockey analytics? I would imagine we do.
I believe that you do. I'm not the biggest analytic guy, especially when it comes to the pucks, but I think a lot of it, Doug, is, and what throws that stuff around maybe from night to night is which goalie is in. I think that sometimes, I think that teams play differently. If you got your main guy in there, he's better than the backup. We've talked about this a lot with backup goalies. You throw them in. You made a couple of weeks ago the point that why aren't they playing 65, 70 of the 82 games? Why aren't the main guys in there for that much? A team plays better in front of them. I think those metrics can get a little thrown off depending because the goalie means so much. Like I was talking about last night. I mean, Saros that was the best game he's played all year last night against Colorado.
And that's going to happen in any sport, right? Any sport, the flukiness of games. And I know a lot of the shots at the net and stuff like that does change things. Yeah. That's why I figured analytics would be good for the win expectancy.
A lot of people have been look, just like with everything else with analytics now, Doug, it has become a huge part, even in hockey. There's guys who put out every night, the win expectancy, what percentage, did the right team win, sort of numbers and things like that, all those kind of graphs and charts and graphs that go along with that. There's plenty of it. That are there in the NHL. So 4 games tonight for us to get things going in hockey. I'm not done with you yet, Doug, before we get to the best bets for tonight. I wanted to bring this up. I had to bring this up.
Some big stuff going on. Football-wise, there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's tons of stuff. Oh, look at this. Now, I didn't see this because this must have just happened while we were doing the show. Michigan
60 seconds ago.
Sharon Moore out at Michigan, huh? How about now?
With cause. So I don't know if that cause is he sucks as a football coach or there's actually, whether it's recruiting, funny, but whatever, rules violations and whatnot. But this is massive news. Remember, we talked about the bowl spreads. I liked Texas -5.5. So I wonder what's going to happen with this point spread for the bowl game. But, obviously, he took over Harbaugh, beat Michigan last year, which probably saved his job a year ago. But the with cause thing makes it really interesting. You just wonder what went down, right? Like, obviously, you don't want to speculate, but, we've seen with cause firings, and then we've seen regular firings where they have to pay out the contract and stuff like that. So I'm just scrolling right now. looking
Game's
at
still on the board at 5.5.
this
The
game's
game is
still on the board. Now, look, they
still on the board.
obviously liked their coach because they were recruited by him, so it could be win-win for the Gipper, so to speak. They're facing Texas, and it's not a obviously a CFP game, but I think it's New Year's Eve or something like that, so it's a bigger game. But this is big. Michigan's a big brand. They won the national championship a couple of years ago. Of course, he was the OC, replaced Harbaugh, and the Big Ten, I mean, is now a super conference when you add the USCs of the world, obviously Oregon, and now Indiana, number one team in the country to go along with Ohio State, and the Wolverines are always going to be a blue blood. And, they were right there last year. I think, what were they, 9-3? It's not like they were, 7-4 last year. They were 9-3 this year. So this is a team that's on the cusp. But if they have Underwood ever evolves as a good quarterback, so this opening could be really big. I don't know who's on their radar in terms of replacements and big time coaches, former players and former OCs, and where everyone is in the coaching carousel. But this is obviously massive news in college football.
And look, he was mentioned and a part of all. Now, they've been doing these Michigan sanctions, Doug, for years. I mean, it feels like the story never goes away. All the things back even to your boy Stallions running around all the games and stealing the signs and everything. Like, there's been so many things with Michigan and sanctions from the NCAA. He obviously has been there and been a part of all this. We obviously don't know what the cause is yet. It hasn't been put out there, but I mean, it could be related to something like that. And that's, like you said, a way for them to use that to get rid of him because maybe they don't want him to be the coach. Brian Kelly's available. He sure is. Or it could be something like we don't even know about yet that's completely off the radar. That's going to come up. So there could be a variety.
I would say this. This is the opposite of a news dump. Wednesday.
Right.
When there's no news going on in college football and you think everything's quiet.
And the other thing is, too, like you think about it, like we've had like a whole coaching cycle here over the last 10 days. Like there's been a lot of jobs that have been filled, a lot of the names, whether you liked any of these guys coming up from the Group 5, the Summeralls, and all these other guys have been hired. Like, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. They could pull somebody from somewhere else and just the domino keeps going, right? That happens all the time too.
Sure. I mean, maybe Matt Campbell can get scooped up and Penn State goes back to being without a coach.
I'm sure they're going to hire Marcus Freeman. Everybody's hiring Marcus Freeman over the last couple of days too. It's like a guarantee he's going to be out of South Bend, which I don't believe till I see it. So there you go. Sharon Moore out for the Michigan Wolverines during Betting Weekly Live. I wanted to bring this up for NFL because obviously this story over the last 24 hours has hit the waves, and that is this Phillip Rivers stuff. So Rivers signed to the practice squad yesterday for the Colts. We know the Colts have got tons of quarterback injuries. Daniel Jones done for the year. Richardson got hurt weeks back. Riley Leonard's banged up from last week. Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen are been best buds forever. He knows the playbook, runs it on his high school team that he coaches. This guy's a grandfather, Doug. He's got 10 kids. He has one grandchild. He hasn't played since the 2020 COVID season. 44 years old. But there is a chance he might start Sunday in Seattle against the Seahawks. Give me your thoughts, Doug, on 44-year-old Phillip Rivers.
A lot. Okay. So I was texting with someone and they're like, "Oh, this is a publicity stunt." I'm like, hold on.
Yeah,
This is not semi-pro where Will Ferrell needs to do some put a bear to shoot a half-court shot to get fans in the stands, right? Publicity stunts are gimmicks you do in minor league baseball. The Colts are legit straight doing this because they think he gives them the best chance to win. This is their Hail Mary to try to win the division. Okay. Now, we can discuss whether they're off their rocker and that there's no chance a 44-year-old could be their best option. But this is not a publicity stunt. He's not going to reset the clock for the Hall of Fame because he's up for the Hall of Fame this year. He's been gone 5 years. Okay. So for them to do this and for him to do this, he thinks he has they have a playoff roster, right? They've just been unraveling. So the question is, and I've come back to this a lot when talking with friends about various stuff. And Scottie Pippen was thinking about making a comeback. This was like late 90s, I think, maybe early 2000s. And remember, he had those back problems. Okay. He'd be hunched over and things like that. And they're like, oh, Pippen's going to make a comeback. His back feels great. And Barkley goes, yeah, because he's on the couch. Like, like it's like the guy who's an alcoholic and wants to start drinking again because he feels great. It's like, well, yeah, but the reason you feel great is that you're not playing football in this case, right? So now, is he working out every day? And with that being said, for the last 10 years, I've come around that like the quarterback position is, I don't know, 80% mental. And that's why Peyton Manning was able to win a Super Bowl on his last leg of his arm, if that makes sense. He retired right after winning the Super Bowl. There's so much that goes in, the complexities of the game, reading defenses, everything like that. It is advanced. That's why Sam Darnold is playing better at the end of his career. And these, Baker Mayfield resurgence, all these guys like Joe Flacco and everything, they're going sort of the more QB friendly offenses like shotgun. So Rivers, just having studied the game forever and studied opposing defenses, it's not about him tucking and running. It's not about him slinging it deep. It's him understanding. I mean, we see Brady and how he's able to read everything. Romo's able to read everything during the broadcast. That's 85% of this game. There's only a few guys like Josh Allen running around, right, that are physically just jumping off the screen. A guy like Sam Darnold can let it rip a little bit because he's advanced and evolved intellectually more than anything. So I'm not putting it past that it's going to be just take small chunks, bite size, matriculate up the field. The defense is going to be in some sort of defense underneath throws. He'll take what the defense gives him. But I don't know if at the Seahawks is the right opponent you want to go to. And I don't know. Do they think they can win the game? Is that why he's suiting up? Or is this to work out the kinks for the next game? Because this division the Colts play in is all of a sudden pretty deep now with the Texans and Jags. And I know they went all in and got Sauce Gardner and got hurt and everything's unraveled with the injury to Danny Dimes. But I do think there's a world where Rivers plays fine, where he plays okay. But it is hilarious. I wish ESPN would have a researcher figure out how many grandfathers have ever played in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, this is not exactly like they have the Raiders coming to Lucas Oil on Sunday, and this is like a nice cushy spot to throw them in. Going on the road to Seattle to play the Seahawks. That's very interesting. We'll see if he's actually out there this week. I'll be watching if he is. That'll be fun. Do I want to?
I think the Hall of Fame thing is like the biggest factor. I don't even think he cares about getting hurt. I think he's resetting that Hall of Fame clock is key.
That's very interesting. Now, let me also quickly give you it from the gambling spin. Also, he was immediately thrown on the Comeback Player of the Year boards for the award, and it was immediately propped up at 20. Now, I think it might have been higher and just bet down, but it's 20-1 right now. Now, of course, you remember, Doug, a couple of years ago, you had Flacco kind of come off the couch and play in December for the Browns, and he ended up winning the award. Now we have Rivers. I mean, I feel like if he plays a game, Doug, he's going to win. I feel like they give it to him.
Oh, no, he's got to play well and finish it. So usually this award is about coming off injury. And there was Flacco won it, but the AP had established at the beginning of the season, like it's not about coming back from injury or being bad. You have to come back from injury, but then the voters didn't really adhere to those policies. So it's really like the most backwards sort of interpretation. But hey, it's a betting market. And I've always said, if there's variance, you don't complain about it, you lean into it and see if you can find opportunity. I don't think he's going to win unless he plays really well and helps the team get into the playoffs like Flacco did. So he's the third favorite, but it's kind of a two-horse race with McCaffrey at -141 and Dak at +120. And then a giant drop-off to Rivers at 20-1 at Bet Rivers. So I would say those two guys in the lead, McCaffrey may lead the league in receptions, and he's off an injury. That's going to win more than Rivers coming in for 5 games and playing quarterback.
And you mentioned a very key point there. Flacco didn't just come back off the couch. He got them in the playoffs in that month of December. Yeah. He played well. The Browns won games and they made the playoffs. And maybe Rivers does that. And suddenly the Colts wins games. But, man, that is wild. The Hall of Fame stuff's really crazy that he'd have to wait around then, as the Clark would have to restart.
Quick information. He has 10 kids, so you were right.
10 and one grandkid.
Oldest
right?
is a daughter who just became a mother.
Wow. Grandpa Phil there in the Indianapolis locker room. How do you feel if you're Brett Rippon and you've been on the practice squad all year? Everyone gets hurt. You think you're finally going to get a chance to maybe get in there and play this year. Nah, let's get Grandpa Phil in. Sorry, Brett. You just wait behind him. He's got to take the snaps now. That's a tough scene for Brett.
Sure thing. He didn't run out of names or anything. You know, some of these, George Foreman Juniors and all that. No juniors, just all regular conventional names. 3 sons, 8 daughters.
Wow. How about that?
Sorry. 3 and 7. Excuse me. I miscounted.
7. The Rivers family. Very, very large there. There you go. More NFL tomorrow as we have the Bucs and the Falcons on Thursday Night Football to start week number 15. Before the best bets, I will tell you one more special at Bet Rivers tonight, Doug. This goes back to the OKC game. Showtime Shea Gilgeous to record at least 25 points, rebounds, assists in the first half of Thunder versus Suns. This is boosted from even money to plus 125. So 25 PRA in the first half at plus 125. That is the special tonight at Bet Rivers.
Oh, I like it. I was touching on it earlier with just his stats usually are 3 quarters worth because he sits the fourth quarter. Now, we did like the under, or at least we lean that way because of the way things typically go in the NBA Cup. But PRA, you get rebounds and assists. I like the boost a little bit because he kind of takes over these types of games, depending on who's guarding him and how the defensive sort of game plan is for the opponent.
All right, it is time. Best bets and the Daily Double here on Betting Weekly Live for a Wednesday. Both of us going hoops tonight. I am going to go to the NBA Cup, and I just think this total in the second game is way too big for what I think might be a tight game, and I think you're going to see some defense, chance to go hang out in Vegas this weekend on the line. I just don't see, 135, 130. I just don't believe it's that kind of game tonight. So I'm going to go under 241.5 for the Spurs and the Lakers for my side, Doug.
Really forgot about the best bet here. I wasn't really ready to. I'm going to put the Iowa State women. Let's go to the ladies' night again on Wednesday. Let's do that. So I just think it's a short card, right? 2 NBA games.
Yeah.
I had a good read. I had really good read on the NBA yesterday, apparently, but I think this is the right side here. Cyclones at home, take care of business. It's a big number, I guess, when you have a close game, but both teams undefeated. But I think our girl will lead the way.
It's a light night for a Dougie Pucks, too. It's a light night to put a Dougie Pucks play in on the NHL. So there you go. Iowa State minus the 4.5 in the women's college basketball game with the under in the Spurs-Lakers 241.5 plus 253 for the Daily Double tonight here on Betting Weekly Live. We have been right on the goal line the last couple of nights. We have got to push this thing across. We're giving it the tush push tonight, Doug. Let's go right across. We're coming in.
You can bet them individually as well.
Yes, and that's been and hopefully people are doing that as well.
I sure am.
Us. Yes, you got to be able to do that too. There you go. Great job, Doug, as always here. Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. We have, as I mentioned, Falcons Bucks to start week 15 on Thursday Night Football. We've got some more NBA. We have got a lot of hockey tomorrow, a lot of college basketball. So a very busy show that we will have for you. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live. Everybody have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow.